Have you ever wondered why the Ethiopian Bible, also known as the Orthodox Tewahedo Biblical Canon, faced centuries of suppression and bans? Dive into the captivating history of this ancient collection of sacred texts, which challenges the very foundations of mainstream Christian beliefs. The Ethiopian Bible, assembled by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church with the assistance of Saint Frumentius in the 4th or 5th century, contains unique books like the Book of Enoch and Jubilees, considered pseudepigraphal by many Christian confessions. These politically charged texts, along with theological differences such as the elevated status of Mary, became focal points for suppression by religious authorities seeking to maintain doctrinal control. Join me on a journey to uncover the mysteries behind the suppression of the Ethiopian Bible and explore its enduring legacy in the face of adversity. Reason 1. Preservation of non-canonical texts. The Ethiopian Bible, also recognized as the Orthodox Tewahedo Biblical Canon, stands out for its preservation of non-canonical texts, a practice that sets it apart from mainstream Christian scriptures. At the core of this distinction lie revered works such as the Book of Enoch, Jubilees, and the Ascension of Isaiah, which challenge the boundaries of traditional Christian canon. These non-canonical texts have endured centuries of controversy and suppression, primarily due to their deviation from established theological norms. Despite facing scrutiny and opposition from various Christian confessions, these texts have found a steadfast home within the Ethiopian Orthodox tradition. Their preservation within the Ethiopian Bible underscores a commitment to safeguarding diverse theological perspectives and cultural heritage. The inclusion of these non-canonical texts reflects a broader ethos of religious pluralism within Ethiopian Orthodoxy, where multiple sources of divine revelation are valued and respected. Rather than adhering strictly to a standardized canon, Ethiopian Christians embrace a more expansive understanding of Scripture, one that encompasses a rich tapestry of spiritual insights and narratives. However, this commitment to inclusivity has not been without its challenges. Throughout history, the Ethiopian Bible has encountered resistance and suppression, particularly from external forces seeking to impose a uniform theological framework. European colonization and missionary activities, in particular, posed significant threats to the preservation of these non-canonical texts, as Western missionaries sought to impose their own interpretations of Scripture. Reason 2. Challenge to religious authority and power dynamics. The Ethiopian Bible's expansive canon, boasting over 80 books, represents a formidable collection of sacred texts that diverges from the streamlined canons upheld by many mainstream Christian denominations. This wealth of Scripture poses a unique challenge to established religious authorities, whose power and influence are often deeply entrenched in the control and interpretation of canonical texts. At the heart of this challenge lies a fundamental tension between centralized religious authority and the decentralized tradition of Ethiopian orthodoxy. Unlike hierarchical structures prevalent in Western Christianity, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church maintains a decentralized ecclesiastical model, where local communities play a significant role in religious practice and interpretation. This decentralized structure grants greater autonomy to individual believers and local clergy, fostering a sense of spiritual independence that may conflict with centralized religious authority. The perception of the Ethiopian Bible as a threat to religious authority stems from its vast and diverse collection of texts, which offer alternative perspectives on theology, spirituality, and religious practice. Within this expansive canon, there exists a wealth of theological insights and narratives that may challenge orthodox interpretations and undermine the legitimacy of established religious institutions. Moreover, the dissemination of these scriptures presents a direct challenge to the monopoly of religious authority held by institutionalized churches and religious leaders. In a landscape where access to Scripture is tightly controlled by religious elites, The widespread availability of the Ethiopian Bible threatens to disrupt established power dynamics and empower ordinary believers with access to alternative sources of religious knowledge. Before we get back to talking about the Ethiopian Bible, I've got something really interesting for you. You know that feeling when you think there's a secret to making money that no one's telling you about? Well, guess what? A rogue NASA scientist has found some really cool secrets that could help you make more money. And here's the twist. YouTube kept deleting the video about it, like they're hiding something. But don't worry, I've put the link in the comments below. Click it and find out what YouTube doesn't want you to know about getting rich. Now, let's get back into the video. Reason 3. Theological divergence and controversy. The Ethiopian Bible stands as a testament to the rich tapestry of theological diversity within the Christian tradition, offering perspectives and interpretations that diverge from mainstream Western Christianity. These theological differences have sparked intense debates and controversies, particularly surrounding concepts such as the divinity of Mary and other nuanced theological doctrines. At the heart of this theological divergence lies a complex interplay of cultural, historical, and doctrinal factors that have shaped the development of Ethiopian Orthodox theology. Unlike Western Christianity, which has been heavily influenced by Greco-Roman philosophical thought and theological frameworks, Ethiopian Orthodoxy has developed its own distinctive theological perspectives rooted in indigenous African traditions and interpretations of Scripture. One of the most contentious theological issues within the Ethiopian Bible is the veneration of Mary and her perceived role in salvation history. While mainstream Western Christianity acknowledges Mary's importance as the mother of Jesus, Ethiopian Orthodoxy elevates her to a divine status, viewing her as the Theotokos, or God-bearer. This elevated status of Mary has been a source of controversy and debate, particularly among Western theologians who adhere to a more nuanced understanding of Mary's role in salvation. Furthermore, the Ethiopian Bible contains theological nuances and interpretations that challenge traditional Western doctrines and interpretations of Scripture. Concepts such as the nature of the Trinity, the role of saints and angels, and the interpretation of eschatological themes differ significantly from mainstream Western Christian perspectives, leading to tension and debate among theologians and religious scholars. In response to these theological differences, efforts have been made to suppress the dissemination of the Ethiopian Bible, particularly by religious authorities who seek to uphold orthodox interpretations of Scripture. However, despite these suppression efforts, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church has remained steadfast in its commitment to preserving its unique theological heritage, affirming the validity of its scriptures and theological perspectives within the broader Christian tradition. Reason 4. Cultural imperialism and religious hegemony. The period of European colonization and missionary activities in Africa witnessed a concerted effort by European and North American Christian missionaries to impose Western theological norms on indigenous Christian communities. This campaign of cultural imperialism sought to establish hegemonic control over religious practices and beliefs, often at the expense of indigenous traditions and interpretations of Scripture. At the forefront of this endeavor was the encounter between Western missionaries and the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which maintained its own rich theological heritage and scriptures. The Ethiopian Bible, with its extensive canon and unique theological perspectives, posed a formidable challenge to the standardized Christian canons promoted by Western missionaries. The suppression of the Ethiopian Bible during this period was driven by a desire to assert Western religious hegemony and erode indigenous cultural identities. European missionaries viewed the non-canonical texts and theological nuances of the Ethiopian Bible as deviations from Orthodox Christian doctrine, incompatible with their vision of a uniform Christian faith. Moreover, the campaign against the Ethiopian Bible was not merely theological, but also deeply intertwined with broader power dynamics associated with European colonialism. The imposition of Western religious ideologies served as a means of cultural domination and control, aimed at subjugating indigenous peoples and erasing their unique cultural and religious practices. In their quest for religious hegemony, European missionaries sought to discredit and suppress the Ethiopian Bible, portraying it as inferior or heretical compared to Western Christian scriptures. This suppression was fueled by a combination of religious zeal, cultural arrogance, and a desire to consolidate power and authority over indigenous Christian communities. Reason 5. Rise of fundamentalism and evangelical opposition. In the 20th century, the expansion of Protestantism and the emergence of fundamentalist Christian movements ushered in a new wave of suppression efforts against the Ethiopian Bible. Evangelical and Pentecostal groups, motivated by a desire to assert their theological supremacy and doctrinal orthodoxy, viewed the Ethiopian scriptures with suspicion and apprehension. This perceived threat to their authority fueled concerted efforts to undermine and suppress the dissemination of the Ethiopian Bible. At the heart of this opposition lay theological differences and doctrinal disputes between mainstream Protestantism and the unique theological perspectives of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Evangelical and Pentecostal groups, adhering to more conservative interpretations of Scripture, viewed the non-canonical texts and theological nuances of the Ethiopian Bible as heretical or incompatible with their own theological frameworks. Moreover, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church's decentralized ecclesiastical structure and emphasis on indigenous religious traditions posed a direct challenge to the hierarchical authority and doctrinal rigidity of evangelical and Pentecostal denominations. In their efforts to assert theological supremacy and consolidate religious authority, evangelical and Pentecostal groups sought to discredit and suppress the Ethiopian Bible, portraying it as deviant or illegitimate compared to their own scriptures. The suppression of the Ethiopian Bible by evangelical and Pentecostal groups was not merely theological, but also driven by broader socio-political factors. The rise of fundamentalist Christian movements coincided with periods of social upheaval and cultural change, where traditional religious institutions faced challenges to their authority and relevance. Reason 6. Unconventional content and doctrinal disputes. Reason 6 for the suppression of the Ethiopian Bible revolves around its unconventional content and the doctrinal disputes it incites. Unlike mainstream Christian doctrines, the Ethiopian Bible presents unique perspectives and discussions on theological themes such as fallen angels, the origins of sin, and the afterlife. These unconventional interpretations challenge established Christian doctrines and have sparked controversy among religious authorities. At the heart of this controversy lies the inclusion of texts within the Ethiopian Bible that delve into esoteric subjects and present alternative narratives to those found in mainstream Christian scriptures. The Book of Enoch, for example, provides detailed accounts of fallen angels and their interactions with humanity, offering insights into the origins of sin and the spiritual realm. Similarly, discussions about the afterlife and the nature of sin present in other non-canonical texts challenge traditional Christian understandings of salvation and divine judgment. These controversial texts have been subject to scrutiny and condemnation by some religious authorities, who view them as heretical or incompatible with Orthodox Christian doctrine. The inclusion of such texts within the Ethiopian Bible has fueled debates and disagreements within the broader Christian community, leading to efforts to suppress their dissemination and influence. Furthermore, the portrayal of mythological elements and non-biblical characters within these texts adds another layer of controversy, with some religious authorities dismissing them as apocryphal or non-canonical. The incorporation of mythological figures and themes from non-biblical sources has raised questions about the authenticity and theological validity of these texts, further contributing to their suppression. Reason 7. Reverence for Mary and doctrinal dissension. Reason 7 for the suppression of the Ethiopian Bible centers on its portrayal of Mary and the divergent perspectives it presents on her divinity and significance. Unlike mainstream Christian teachings, which acknowledge Mary's role as the mother of Jesus, but typically refrain from attributing divine status to her, certain texts within the Ethiopian Bible elevate Mary to a position of unparalleled reverence, emphasizing her divine attributes and importance in salvation history. This portrayal has ignited controversy and contributed to suppression efforts by religious institutions striving to uphold doctrinal orthodoxy. At the heart of this controversy lies differing interpretations of Mary's role within the Christian faith. While mainstream Christian traditions regard Mary as a revered figure worthy of honor and respect, but not deserving of divine worship, certain texts within the Ethiopian Bible assert her divinity and position her as an intermediary between humanity and the divine. These non-canonical perspectives challenge established Christian doctrines and have sparked debates among theologians and religious scholars. The elevation of Mary to a divine status within certain Ethiopian texts reflects broader cultural and theological differences within the Ethiopian Orthodox tradition. Ethiopian Christians have long revered Mary as the Theotokos, or God-bearer, emphasizing her role in bearing the Son of God and serving as a conduit for divine grace. This heightened reverence for Mary has deep roots in Ethiopian religious and cultural traditions, which predate the introduction of Christianity to the region. However, the portrayal of Mary's divinity within the Ethiopian Bible has drawn criticism and condemnation from some quarters of the Christian community, particularly those adhering to mainstream Western Christian teachings. Religious institutions seeking to maintain doctrinal orthodoxy have viewed these non-canonical perspectives on Mary as heretical or incompatible with established Christian doctrine, leading to efforts to suppress their dissemination and influence. As we conclude our exploration into the captivating history and enduring legacy of the Ethiopian Bible, it becomes clear that its suppression was not merely a matter of theological disagreement, but a reflection of broader socio-political and cultural dynamics. From the preservation of non-canonical texts to challenges to religious authority, from cultural imperialism to doctrinal disputes, each aspect sheds light on the complexities surrounding this ancient collection of sacred texts. The Ethiopian Bible stands as a testament to the resilience of a tradition that has weathered centuries of suppression and adversity, yet remains steadfast in its commitment to preserving its unique theological heritage. Its diverse canon, theological nuances, and reverence for figures like Mary challenge us to embrace the richness of religious pluralism and cultural diversity within the Christian tradition. As we reflect on the journey we've embarked upon, let us remember that the suppression of the Ethiopian Bible is not merely a historical footnote, but a reminder of the ongoing struggles for religious freedom, cultural autonomy, and theological diversity. It calls us to interrogate the power dynamics that shape our understanding of Scripture and to embrace the complexity of religious traditions beyond our own. Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery. If you found this exploration enlightening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. And until next time, may we continue to seek understanding, embrace diversity, and celebrate the rich tapestry of human spirituality.